What would you do if someone stole one of the most important cars in automotive history from you?
He already knew what I was going to say. He took out his phone and scanned down through his contacts, and it showed Donnie Callaway crook.
Welcome back to the Bad Decisions podcast. I'm Scott Nathan, and today's guest knows exactly what that feels like. Over 500,000 of you watched my Jay Leno interview about supercar scammer Donnie Callaway. The response was massive, but that was just the beginning. Today you'll meet the first man to put Callaway behind bars, the man who saw through the charm before anyone else did. Dr. Stephen Mandell is the owner of Lamborghini Miura serial number 1, the very first customer-delivered car that stunned the world at the 1967 New York Auto Show. When he trusted Callaway with this priceless piece of automotive history, he had no idea he was walking into a trap. What happened next exposed 15 years of criminality, arson, burglary, grand theft, fraud, cocaine distribution, domestic violence, perjury, and extortion, a pattern that began in 1997. This interview was recorded on October 15th, 2024, while Callaway sat in Maricopa County Jail following a sting operation. Though the DA later dropped those charges, convicted felon Donnie Callaway continues operating from an airplane hangar in the Mojave Desert, unlicensed by California's Bureau of Automotive Repair. But it all started with one car, one betrayal, and one man who refused to stay silent. This is his story. We are here in the unassuming suburb of Claremont, halfway between Los Angeles and Palm Springs, and this is Dr. Stephen Mandell. He has a treat for us here in this trailer. Let's see what we've got. This is the Lamborghini Miura P400. This is the very first production and fifth prototype of what many people, including Jerry Seinfeld, let's hear it, Jerry.
It's the most beautiful car in the world.
The most beautiful car ever made. This husk of a car has been through a lot. She's on her way back to full restoration.
Hi, my name is Stephen Mandell, Dr. Stephen Mandell. This is the 1967 Lamborghini Miura number 0979. That makes it the first production Miura.
Tell me how you came to own this Miura.
I was sitting in my office. The postman came in and dropped a copy of Auto Week on my desk right in front of me. And I'm thinking, I've got work to do. I can't be playing around looking in this Auto Week magazine. I said, you know what? I'll just look at the pictures of the cars for sale in the back real quick. Flipping through, and I saw this black and white picture of, it said first production Miura. And then I thought, oh, but it's got to be sold by now. And then I realized the mailman delivers it before it hits the newsstands. So I went and I beat everybody down there, and I got it down $10,000, and I bought it before anybody else figured out what they missed.
What was the price?
It was $67,900 in 1997.
What do you think she's worth now?
Oh, I assume you mean put back together.
Yeah.
$3 million.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
How did you meet Donnie Callaway?
Well, I met Donnie Callaway at a French and Italian car show in Burbank, California in 2010. And he had driven up in a Ferrari Berlinetta Boxer. He opened up the hood on it after a while, and I looked inside, and I saw, my goodness, the engine looked like it was brand new. And I thought, man, this guy does good work. So I talked to him about it, and he immediately said, this is a passion of mine. This is why I do this. And, now that I think about it, a little bell went off in my head. If it's your passion, you don't have to tell people. It's like an artist saying, I'm an artist. I pushed that out of my consciousness for some reason and ended up with a deal that he would restore the car for, at the time, a very reasonable price, but he would get to parade around in Pebble Beach with it, for a week and make a name for himself. I had him come over to my house. He saw the car, and he was interested, to say the least. He wrote up how much it would cost for the mechanicals, for the body, the electrical, all that, and added it all up. He did take it apart rather quickly and efficiently, and I'll hand it to him. He did label every little part in a plastic bag, and some of them are still in the plastic bags. So he did a good job disassembling it. But then he was asking for money out of proportion for the work that was being performed. I started to notice things like disassemble interior. Well, on the Miura, there's almost no interior. I just knew something was wrong. And he had already told a friend of mine that if I didn't pay him, he was going to sell the car in Germany. Oh, a long, uncomfortable period of waiting, 7 months or so. I got a bill for $106,000 for storage
It's not legal in California, if I'm correct, to charge storage on a restoration.
Not during the restoration, correct. It was not reasonable to even consider it a legitimate charge. And yet he could still use it as the basis of me not paying a bill and him selling the car in a lien sale. He had an attorney that was in cahoots with him, very good at being very bad. And if I didn't pay it, he was going to sell it at an auction. That was his plan all along. He had a partner at the time, and his partner later told me that was the plan from day one. So I did what I needed to do to keep the lien sale from happening. I got an attorney, and it didn't go well. I spent like $15,000 and got nowhere because his attorney kept generating requests or demands. And I'd literally go to the mailbox shaking. If I saw this 9 by 11, 3/4 of an inch thick, I know it was from his attorney, and it was things that we had to do in the next 2 weeks or lose the car. That was how he had been getting away with things for 10 years. Our Ferrari finder friend, when I came up to him, was about to tell him about Donnie, he already knew what I was going to say. He took out his phone and scanned down through his numbers, his contacts, and it showed Donnie Callaway, crook. He said he's been doing this for 10 years, and good luck. I was very desperate at that point. All the attorneys were telling me, you're going to end up spending $100,000 and you'll just be back where you are right now. At the time, the car was only worth around that much, so they're saying, just give it up. Everybody's saying, just give it up. It's not worth it. But I couldn't. So I checked with DMV investigations. I checked with police departments, with CHP, everybody I could think of. And everybody is telling me it's a civil matter. And I'm saying, he moved his shop and he wouldn't tell me where my car was. So that's grand theft auto.
Yeah.
But nobody wanted to have to deal with it. There was a garage safety talk being held at the Peterson. I went there. There was a couple of hundred people in attendance. I waited till the talk ended. I stood up and I said, I challenge you to stop the theft of a very historically important automobile that's in progress right now. And then one person from TRAP is the organization to prevent theft of motor vehicles in the Los Angeles County. He said, come and see me. He ended up planning an operation. It took a couple weeks to put it together. All of a sudden I saw this train of vehicles coming by. They all pulled in. Guys got out with helmets and bulletproof vests, and there's a locksmith and a bunch of police. And they opened the door, they got inside, and then I got a phone call because I was hiding a few hundred feet away. And they said, there's a bunch of boxes in here. If you have any doubt that anything in any of those boxes is yours, take it. You can always return it. But if you don't take it now, you'll never get another chance. So I took 30 boxes. It was very frantic. I ended up bringing back 9 of them and got all the parts that were there. But the engine and transmission, they weren't there. They had to move like 15 cars to get at the chassis and loaded it up. I drove away, following them down the freeway. There was a friend of mine in a van that had some mechanical parts in it. Got a phone call from Donnie's attorney. He was livid, like I'm going to jail or something, and put the phone down shaking. But then I looked and saw my car ahead of me and the parts behind me, and I go, I don't know, somehow I think this is good.
Well, let's cut to what happened after you got your car back, because as far as I understand, you are Donnie Callaway's original sin. You were the first person to put him in jail, am I right?
I'm the first person that put him in jail, but not his original sin. An example, there was a man before me, he had an Austin Healey 3000, and it was a very important car, so it was like at Le Mans or something.
Yeah.
Donnie knew that his wife was dying from cancer and just kept sending him bills to restore the engine. They were over $100,000 to restore an Austin Healey engine, which made no sense at all, but he told the guy that if he didn't pay him, he'd find his car in the bottom of a canyon. When my case came to the forefront, they did round up some other people, and that man actually did get some sort of restitution order. But yeah, collect it from Donnie, good luck, right? They had looked for him at a hotel. They didn't find him, and he got the word, so he's on the run. There were reports that he was seen in Hawaii, that he was seen at a car show in the Midwest, but he knew what was going on, and he was in touch with his attorney. And he finally arranged a deal that if he turned himself in, they'd let him wear an ankle bracelet and he'd be out for the holidays. Well, he ended up wearing that ankle bracelet for more like 5 months before his court trial. So he did negotiate that. And he also used the fact that he still had my engine and the heads to negotiate an extension of being able to wear the ankle bracelet. They had 14 felony counts against him. They went with the easiest things first because they didn't want to have to work hard on it, and I can understand that. They didn't want to have to keep him for 15 years, which is what all those would have added up to. So they just prosecuted the first 3.
Which 3 crimes were those?
I don't remember the second and third, but I remember the first was perjury because it was just so easy for them to show that he had applied for a license for his shop. Do you have any previous felonies? And he had a bunch of them, and he said no. And like, okay, there you go. We don't need to prove anything else. And then they had two more. But the fourth one was grand theft auto. And it was a shame that they didn't go for number 4. They just went for the first 3 because that would have allowed me to collect on my stolen car damage. And as it was, I didn't.
How much were you out money-wise at this point?
Oh, I was out about $100,000.
About $100,000, and you hadn't gotten back your engine or transmission, is that right?
Yeah, I did end up getting it back. Well, I sweated that out for several months. Jeff Steffen's the best-known engine builder on the West Coast. Somebody had to do an accounting of the parts. Mm-hmm. And Jeff's about the only person that would know all the parts in the car in this area of the country. So he spent a week over at my garage, and he went through every single part, and everything was there.
So the trial was the state against Donnie, not you against Donnie, is that correct?
Right, because they wrapped up a few other cases in with it. And he didn't argue against anything. He didn't admit to his guilt. He just wanted to get the lowest sentence he could.
And what was his jail sentence, and where did he end up?
His jail sentence was for 5 years, and I don't know which state prison, but he ended up in state prison. I think he probably was semi-clean for a few years, but came back at 10 times the level.
Yeah, it really is true sociopathy. Just take people's dreams and steal them with impunity.
Yeah, it's hard to say whether he just didn't care at all or he actually enjoyed ruining people's lives.
That must have taken its toll on you emotionally. What was it like?
I felt like that roughly a year in limbo. I felt like it took 5 years off of me. Yeah, I was a mess. I was a shaky person. And I was so shocked when I went for a restitution hearing a couple years later. His attorney was there. I expected to see somebody that you'd love to hate, a nasty, evil person. He just looked like a little quiet guy. You kind of feel sorry for him. I go, wait a minute, he's the guy ruining people's lives.
Arch criminal, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever cross paths with him again?
Oh, I've just seen him, but I don't know if he saw me seeing him. Other people have seen him.
Like at car shows and things?
Yeah. And, good friend of mine. Back in the day when I hadn't got my car back yet, he had seen Donnie, and that's how I found out. Donnie said, Mandell doesn't pay me $106,000, I'm going to sell the car in Germany. And that's very similar to the charges he just got brought up on because he did get busted for selling cars that he didn't own.
That's right.
From a man from Belgium. The value of that was about 10 times or more than 10 times what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
So he upped his ante, he upped his game. There was obviously no stopping Donnie until somebody stopped him.
But what I was always shocked by with him, not to editorialize too much, was that he seemed to have almost a disdain for his customers. He would go try to cosplay living like them.
He came across as being a grassroots Ferrari guy, and as we know, Jay got totally taken in by him. Jay's a good guy, and he was taken in just like all of his other victims, including myself.
So as we'll see in our B-roll, this is still a husk of a car. This is a frame and a body with fresh paint on it that Donnie thinks started 10 years ago, and you still don't have a running car.
You're right.
The guys you've spoken to about finishing this restoration, how long do you think they'd need to do it?
Oh, restorations always take a long time, and they always take longer than they say. My guess is it would be a year.
Anything else to add?
I look forward to showing it at Pebble Beach and having my day in the sun with it. It will get admitted because of its historic significance, and I'm going to be insistent upon it not being over-restored inappropriately. No, I'd rather see a little quirk here and there that was original to the car. It's the way they wanted to have it. That's part of its charm, and it is original.
Yeah, people don't realize that these were handmade cars. This wasn't really like the assembly line era quite yet, was it?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you look under the hood where the spare tire well is, the spare tire well actually intrudes right up to the back side of the dashboard. And you can see the individual hammer marks, and they're not nice. It's like ball peen hammer. And the restorer that just retired a few weeks ago, he managed to say a few times how crude it is. But it was also crude, but being built like an early airplane. There's so many punched holes in that thing. The carpet covers up. It's almost a shame that you can't see them.
In Dr. Mandell's barn now.
I won an award for this car, most useless at the drive-in.
This is unbelievable. This is the smallest car I've ever seen.
It's the second smallest car ever made.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's the smallest car ever made?
A Peel P50.
What got you into cars in the first place?
When I was like 16 years old and I went to the New York Auto Show. I was living in Connecticut. It was my first auto show. And boy, that's an important event in my life because guess which car was there?
No.
Yeah. But I didn't realize it. I left seeing this car.
Wait,
and
stop it right now.
Yeah.
That Lamborghini and that trailer was at the first auto show you ever went to.
See the goosebumps?
That's unbelievable.
Okay, so at the tender age of 16 years old, I was beginning to be interested in cars. I liked little cars, but then a friend of my dad's, I was living in Connecticut, took me to the 1967 New York Auto Show. While I was there, I saw this beautiful thing, and I liked it so much that I hated the fact that I'd never be able to get it. And I left with a heartache, and I was actually mad because I couldn't end up with that car. Well, 30 years later, I bought a Lamborghini Miura, and 3 years after that, I found out it was the same car.
What a story.
Okie dokie.
Dr. Mandell, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Can't
My
thank you
pleasure.
enough.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
you.
My pleasure.